Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Carnivorous Grandma Speaks. I am super excited and honored to have here with me tonight Adam at Carnivore Today. Hey, Adam.
How you doing, Robin? Good to see you. Glad to be here.
Good to see you too, and so glad to have you here. Thank you for taking me up on my offer to come and be interviewed on my channel. I think I was on your channel probably a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago now. We did an
hmm
interview together, which is out on your channel. So I'm just trying to return the favor and have you come and share with my audience your story. So I'm so grateful that you're here. And one of the really cool things about Adam and I is that we got a chance to meet in Chicago. So
Yes.
that was really awesome.
hmm
So we've
Yeah,
actually met
absolutely.
in person and that's really, really cool.
Yep. Yep. And Robin really is as cool in person as she is on camera.
Oh, thank you, Adam. I really appreciate that. So, Adam, let's just get right into it. I'd like to just have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story and your journey, um, how you found your way to this amazing way of eating that we found.
Sure. So my name is Adam Lacey. I am a professional photographer by trade, and I shoot sports leagues, youth sports leagues, high school sports leagues. I do some work with NFL, NHL. I have shot for three national and international wire services for about a decade now. I don't do as much of that work as I used to. It's more so the sports industry, this sports leagues, dance studios, things like that is what we're more so into doing right now. But uh, so it's in terms of diet in that industry, it's not great. I would assume it's just like any other industry. It's, especially a high paced industry like that. You don't have time for food. You don't have time for nutrition. You don't have time for education. It's just go, 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 go. And the worst possible foods. Most of the time, it's just whatever they give you in a media meal. Sometimes it's good food, but most of the time it's just pizza, pop, water, things like that. It's just straight garbage. At some of the venues, like the Columbus Crew, MLS soccer team, they actually give you hot dogs, which is okay, I guess, but they print the Columbus Crew name and logo and all that stuff on the hot dog. So I'm not
On the
sure
hot
exactly what's in that. so so yeah, diet over the years has been not great. Um, and kind of what led me to the carnivore diet was an autoimmune condition that I have called vitiligo, which is your skin's inability to produce melanin. So you get these white patches. My skin is somewhat tan, so it's a little bit noticeable. And it had started to appear in more places than normal or than they normally were for the past 6 years. And I got worried. So I did a little internet research, Google Doc, and I found Joe Rogan on YouTube, and he had this similar condition. So his solution was the carnivore diet. And I thought, well, what the heck is this carnivore diet? Right. And I had never heard of anything like that. And this is about, I'd say 14, 15 months ago. And I kind of went down the rabbit hole with that. The first video I seen when I searched for carnivore diet was Dante Ferrigno, and kind of seen a few of his videos and his transformation. I thought, man, there might be something to this, but I was indoctrinated with the belief of fat's going to kill you, balanced diet, eat your veggies, all that sort of nonsense. And I ran into Dr. Barry video, and here's an MD essentially giving me the green light to eat as much steak as I wanted. And it might help this autoimmune condition that I had. So it was all in from there. So that's how I was introduced to it.
So I don't know if I talked about this when we interviewed on your channel, but my son has vitiligo.
Oh
And
wow.
he's had it since he was 6 months old.
Okay.
Um, I'll have to send you his picture because he has, like it's right here on his chin, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it starting like this white line across his face, and I'm like, why is his milk like leaving this white mark on his face, but it turned
Right.
out that it's vitiligo.
Hmm.
And so he had his beard is like half black and half white where he
Okay.
has that vitiligo. So can you tell us a little bit about what is vitiligo and what are the symptoms of that?
Well, as far as I know, well, vitiligo is, your skin doesn't have the ability to produce melanin in those spots. So there's no pigmentation and it just appears white. It doesn't really matter what race or background or anything like that you're from. When there is no melanin, we all essentially look the same, and same skin color.
Yeah.
So in terms of the symptoms of it, I don't really have any symptoms. I
Okay.
don't feel anything. There's no pain, nothing like that associated with it. It was strictly, at least for me, a vanity thing. So I've had it around my waist for 6, 7 years, and I went on a vegan diet for 2 years, and it started to appear on my arms. And I thought, oh no, at that time, I really didn't equate it to diet. It was
Mhm.
just like, oh no, it's getting worse, right? I'm getting older, it's getting worse. It's probably it's going to be on my face and everywhere else. And yeah, I really just started researching out of vanity reasons. Really, it wasn't for any kind of health concern, even though I had health issues going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I've also heard that vitiligo is also accompanied with other autoimmune conditions as well, and I am seeing some of that.
Yeah. I think a lot of and I think I was just watching an interview on your channel that you did with the young lady, I can't remember her name, but she was talking about how these autoimmune conditions overlap and layer, on top of each other.
Hmm.
So, I have eczema, which is absolutely awful.
Right.
And I have a couple different kinds, like Raynaud's, I have that. That's also autoimmune, but the interesting thing is I didn't think that any of these things were diet related and
Right.
could be fixed with a dietary change. I thought this was something that was permanent, I mean, it's just part of what's inside your body and there's no changing it. So
Yeah.
what did you think when you heard that this could possibly be reversed or cured with, diet?
I thought it was crazy. I thought there's no way that this is possible. I followed the same shtick and dogma that everybody else did, which is, it's genetic. There's no real explanation really for autoimmune conditions.
Mhm.
Usually, I mean, what you're taught is once you have them, it just kind of progressively gets worse over time. There's no way to, you may be able to mask some of the symptoms with medications
Yep.
and different therapies and things like that. But yeah, I didn't think that there was a way to fix it. So when I did the Google search, the Google doctor search, and found this, I thought this has got to be like snake oil type stuff or something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's no possible way that this could even happen. And
Mhm.
here I am. Well, I'm 14 months into eating carnivore, strict carnivore, and it really took about 5 months for me to start to see a reversal of the vitiligo. And
Wow.
it really hasn't gone anywhere since then, but I am starting to notice issues with histamine and things like that. That is another sort of an autoimmune response.
Mhm.
So I'm able to, because of the way that I'm eating, because it's eliminated just about everything, I'm able to really listen to my body more and
Yeah.
understand exactly what it's trying to tell me so that I can figure things out.
Yeah, so you are seeing a little bit of a reversal. Is it all the way cleared up, or are you just seeing just the beginnings of a reversal of the, um, autoimmune, condition vitiligo?
It's just the beginnings, and I think that once I get through this histamine issue, I don't want to go all the way to what I think I need to do in order to clear up this histamine issue, which is order meat from this company called Billy Doe Meats.
Mhm.
And, eat lamb because I don't really like lamb.
Yeah.
So, but they say that the way that these animals are harvested, they're smaller, so they have less histamine.
Yeah.
They essentially freeze them almost immediately, and then if you cook that meat from frozen, that it's like the lowest possible histamine content that you could have. Beef, by definition, when you buy it from the store, it's already aged at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
So,
Right. That's right.
yeah.
That's right. Because I order cows from my local rancher, and that cow is sent away for processing, and it does hang for some time before they, finish up the processing of it and cut it into its parts and. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that. So tell us a little bit about the histamine issue. What is histamine and why is it an issue?
Well, histamine, I can't tell you the scientific,
Mm,
definition of what histamine is. I can tell you
mhm,
that I have an issue with
okay.
high histamine foods, and
Mhm,
that would be like bacon, smoked meats, egg whites, aged cheeses, cultured cheeses, and cultured butter, these types of things, which can be somewhat problematic. So if somebody is having an issue on the carnivore diet, you may have a histamine intolerance, and you just need to make sure that you're steering clear of those carnivore foods in favor of other carnivore foods.
mhm,
So the issues that I had, or symptoms that I have with it, is nausea. That's the main and number one issue
mhm,
that I have with histamine intolerance is nausea. And um, almost always after I eat smoked meats or anything that's been cooked for a prolonged time, like 10 hours in a crock pot, say, um, things like that. Or if I dry age a steak in the fridge for a day, 2 days, inevitably I have nausea. And it's like a level,
mhm.
like let's say level 10 is actually, getting sick.
Yeah.
It's like a level 7 or 11, level 8 that just stays there and won't go away for hours and hours and hours.
Hmm.
Initially, I had thought that it was when I transitioned to the carnivore diet, that it was because I had been eating vegan for 2 years prior, that I just didn't have the stomach acid level to process the fats and the higher amounts of proteins that I was eating, that I couldn't
Mhm.
just couldn't digest it, and I thought that was the problem. And, turns out that's not the problem. It was a histamine intolerance, and I started to gradually pare down and eliminate those foods over time, and, I think I have it somewhat figured out. I think I probably do need to go with lamb for more of an extended period of time, maybe 3, 6 months, and see how
Mhm.
that goes. But man, I'm telling you, Robin, I just I just don't like the taste of lamb.
Not your fave.
No.
Yeah. Oh, that is such a bummer. I mean, I totally get that, Adam. I also I have this autoimmune condition. It's eczema, but it's called dyshydrotic eczema,
Mhm,
and it causes this blistering, like mostly in my hands, the palms of
mhm.
my hands, and on your fingers. You'll see these blisters, super, super itchy.
Oh, wow.
And I've been trying to figure out dietarily what it could be, and it's probably gonna end up being histamine, which I'm just, like, rejecting. I'm rejecting the idea of it
Right?
because I don't wanna give up anything else right now, because going to a carnivore diet is pretty drastic in the first
Mhm,
place, right?
mhm.
And you give up a lot. You give up also a lot of bad feeling too, but,
Right.
you give up a lot of different kinds of foods and stuff. So, at this point, I have not addressed the histamine except for trying to maybe reduce my egg whites, by quite a bit and
Mhm.
focus more on egg yolk. But then you end up with all these egg whites, and what are you gonna do with them? Make mashed
Right.
potatoes.
I just let them go right down the drain when I was just eating
Yeah,
the yolk, but now I don't
yeah,
even eat eggs.
no eggs at all.
Nope.
So, I wanted to talk about, like, so let me think about this. When you say, like, so if I'm going to the grocery store and I'm picking up meat off the shelf, that meat is aged automatically, right?
Yep.
It's already been, particularly beef, But
Hmm.
even if I'm picking up lamb or chicken or some other type of meat, it's already aged by the time you get it from the grocery store, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So then it's naturally so the aging of the meat causes the histamine to increase.
From what I understand, it's the bacteria that
Oh,
interacts with the protein when
okay.
it eats the sort of the protein, especially on the outside of the meat, it
Mm,
creates histamine. And yeah, our bodies naturally create histamine as well, so it's not a bad thing. It's just people that have autoimmune conditions typically when they eat the histamine, it causes their histamine bucket to fill up, and then you start to have things like eczema and nausea and headaches and
right.
all these other crazy weird symptoms that come along with it. So yeah, you want to try to get non-aged beef if you can, lamb or smaller animals like lamb or goat, and try to steer away from things like ground beef because ground beef has a massive amount of surface area for that
Mhm.
bacteria to get to and create histamine. So I haven't given up the ground beef yet, obviously, because it's
Yeah.
cheap. So
Yep, it's
yeah,
cheap. Yep, it's cheap
but
and
I
it's good.
probably should.
Yeah, right. It's hard. I mean, it can be hard to push yourself to go all the way to where you need to go and then for the time frame that you need to go because you might not have to do that forever,
Right.
but it may take a while before your body recovers. So very interesting about the histamine. I know that I have a histamine problem because I have seasonal allergies. Those seasonal allergies have improved on carnivore. So have you what other kinds of results have you seen from going carnivore besides your vitiligo improving a little bit?
Oh, wow. This is a big list. So I'll start with the very first thing that went away. I had plantar fasciitis for 2 years. It was incredibly painful. It got to the point where I couldn't stand for longer than 30 minutes. And then the
Mm,
pain was so intense, I'd have to sit down for at least 2 hours for that pain to subside before I could stand back up again. So that was huge. And coincidentally, that coincided with eating a vegan diet. And I never put two and two together until I went carnivore. So knowing what I know now about raw vegetables and especially leafy greens like spinach, they are extremely high in oxalates. And I have no
mhm,
doubt that that played a major part in that inflammation in my foot and the pain that was caused by that. So I
right.
went all in 100% carnivore, basically day one when I decided to do it. And within 3 days, the pain from the plantar fasciitis started to subside, and by day
Wow,
5, it was completely gone, and it has not come back in over 14 months.
that's amazing. That
Yeah,
is
it
amazing.
was incredible because I had to buy $250 pairs of shoes,
Mhm.
and multiple ones, hiking ones and walking ones and dress ones and all that, just to relieve some of that pain that was on the bottom of my feet, and wear a boot at night,
Wow.
which is very uncomfortable and a huge pain. Um,
Mhm.
and just different, rubbing like water bottles that are frozen, rubbing that on the bottom of your feet, and none of it really worked. So the only
Yeah.
thing that worked was beef, butter, bacon, eggs.
Wow. Amazing.
So that was one thing,
Mhm.
or the first thing. And then let's see. So I sleep deeper, much deeper than I did before. Before I was sleeping, 7, 8 hours a day. Now I only have to sleep roughly 6 hours or so. And the
Mhm.
sleep is so much deeper. I wake up much more refreshed. I've gained essentially 2 hours a day of productivity and time that I can spend with my family or on my business or on a YouTube channel or with the documentary. So that's a good thing.
Yep.
I had a brain injury 70
Mm.
years ago now, but when I started the carnivore diet, that brain injury was 6 years old,
Mhm.
and they basically told me that I had lost 10% of my brain function. So just imagine, cutting off 10% of your brain's gone. But along with that came balance issues. I had vertigo. If I couldn't close my eyes at night in bed, there had to be some sort of a light on that I could fixate on, as a essentially a horizon, or I would just go into this vertigo state and lose control and get sick. I couldn't close my eyes. If I closed my eyes standing up, I would fall over immediately. Uh, I would have complications like if I walked in a shopping mall and it was like, long corridor and there's stores, left and right, and you got the ceiling up above and the floor below. I would just start getting these vertigo effects and almost fall down literally right in the mall.
Adam, I
Uh,
had the same
yeah,
problem. I
really?
literally had this very same problem.
Oh my goodness.
So crazy. So let me just tell you what happened.
Sure.
I sing on the praise team, and I would notice that if I closed my eyes, I would almost fall over.
Wow.
So I never get to close my eyes in worship or anything like that. Just have to sing with my eyes open. And then I was in Hawaii, and they had these walkways that were had patterns on them. And then the
Hmm.
walls had patterns and the ceiling had there was all these patterns, and I could barely walk down that. I could not walk down that. It was like staggering. I had to hold on to somebody to help me walk down that area where they had all those patterns on the floor. It was so weird. I've
Wow.
never heard of anybody else having this before.
Yeah, that was essentially the same thing. I mean, it was almost like you'd see in the movies where everything starts warping and getting weird looking,
Mhm.
and like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall over or puke or
Yep,
something. I don't know.
yep,
But yeah,
very
that
strange.
that
Wow.
was, at least I equated that to my brain injury when I got in the car
Mhm.
crash and had this massive traumatic brain injury. So
Yeah,
I guess it could have been exacerbated by all the oxalates and things like that. So I'm
yeah.
not 100% sure, but with physical therapy and all the doctors and the scans and all that stuff, they told me that stuff was from the accident. But
Mhm.
I would have motor tics also. So once I got to a certain point, a certain level of the day, my brain would just be done. It was exhausted. And once
Mm.
that happened, I would start having tics like somebody with Tourette's would have. My head would just start
Wow,
jerking and I couldn't control it. So
wow.
that was interesting. And within it's almost basically the same time frame as the vitiligo, 5 to 6 months, and it gradually happened over time that these complications went away, and it was almost to the point where it just happened so slow that one day I was like, I'm not having these problems anymore. It
Wow.
wasn't like a switch. It just like,
Mhm.
holy crap, like I haven't had any of these things happening lately, and the only thing that I can attribute it to is diet, because I think exercise is a four-letter word, so I wasn't doing exercise. I literally just changed what I was eating, so
Wow. That is amazing. So, that's absolutely incredible. I mean, that whole thing about the, vertigo, it's a terrible, terrible thing, to
mhm,
have vertigo and not be able to walk straight, not like doing a normal thing like closing your eyes while, you just wanna tip over. So that's
right.
kinda crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. We do have a comment out here. I wanna just
Mhm,
put this up, and, Catherine says, "Try eating lamb shake. They don't seem to
hmm,
have a very strong lamby flavor, but very good." I'm not sure what a lamb shake is,
interesting.
but maybe we can
Yeah, I'll
look it
have to
up.
look that up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and see what it
Yeah,
is, and
thanks,
Oaktown
Catherine.
girl said, "Lamb what?"
Right?
So
It's
if
funny that
Catherine
she
is
brings
still in
that
the chat, yeah, hmm?
Yeah, it's funny that she brings that up because I was just talking to, Russ the other day, I think, about making a video that is all about essentially just taking, like, a ribeye and pureeing it with bone broth
Mm,
and
okay.
drinking, doing that as an experiment to see if
Oh,
it's any good or not.
wow.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, so I don't
Okay.
know why I wanted to do that, but, yeah, just to see if that's another option that somebody could have, like a
Yeah,
meal on the
def
go.
a lamb shank. Lamb
Oh,
shank.
shank. Gotcha.
Okay, I'm with you now. Thank you, Catherine. I'm like, lamb
Disregard what I said about the ribeye shake then.
so when you see Adam on his channel doing the ribeye shake, you'll know what he's talking about.
Right. Yeah.
That's
I'll
hilarious.
have to
Lamb
try the
shake is
shank and
really
see if
good.
it
I really do like lamb, but I find that I'm not that huge of a fan of, like, lamb chops, but I do
yeah.
enjoy, like, a braised lamb shank. But I think with I'm not sure if the braising, will defeat the purpose of the fast cook that you need from a histamine response perspective.
Right.
So,
I guess it all depends on how bad your histamine reactions are.
mhm,
Some people can tolerate a little bit more. Some people obviously can just eat smoked meats that's been smoked for a day and not have a problem. But
right.
um, yeah,
Yeah. So, I think you should give it a try, try the lamb. I mean, I know a lot of people probably don't prefer lamb. I did watch that video. I can't think of the young lady's name that you were interviewing that was talking about that, having
Re-
osteoporosis and all of
oh
those,
yeah, Rebecca.
autoimmune Rebecca, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that she does eat those Billy Doe meats. I went out there and looked at it when she started talking about it. I'm like, "Oh my god, this meat is expensive."
Yes, it is. It is.
It is
But
expensive.
she got to the point I think where they actually sponsor her now too. So
Oh,
because
that's awesome.
she's had such a great health transformation. I mean, she had over 30 diseases and autoimmune conditions that she healed in a
Amazing.
year from just eating lamb. And
See, this is the
yeah,
thing, Adam, is like, this is a game changer, which is why you and I are here today talking about this. It's a true game changer.
amen.
And I am, really, I don't know, concerned, I guess, that people are, that people are not getting the memo, but a lot of people are. I have to say,
Mhm.
from the time that I started a year ago to now, I'm seeing a massive increase in the number of people that are doing a carnivore diet. But still, all these diseases that we think are incurable, we're finding out that they are really metabolic diseases. Like they're caused by um, having too high of insulin, too high of inflammation, ultra processed foods, and all at XYZ, why
Mhm.
our bodies are basically falling apart on these standard diets that we have. So, super
Absolutely.
concerning. It's absolutely super concerning.
Absolutely.
So
That's why I'm thankful for channels like yours that help get the message out in the way that you can, and you connect with people that I can't connect with, and so on and
mm,
so on. I hope
mhm,
that we can continue to inspire other people to share their journey, even if they don't want to do more of a curated content or anything like that, at least share your journey online, because you're going to connect with somebody, and you're going to inspire someone else to make change in not only in themselves, but potentially their family and their friends and their community. So
right. And I'm loving it. I mean, the only problem that I have with all of the YouTubers is I can't keep up with everybody's channels
right. Yeah.
as much as I want to. I wanna support and watch every single person, but there's so many of them out here now that it's, like, really, really difficult. So I
Yeah.
see that Lori's here. Hey, Lori. Let
Hey
me add
Lori,
you
how you doing? Good to see
soon.
you.
And then, Rick is also here. Hey,
Hey
Rick.
Rick.
Thank you for being here.
Quack quack.
So quack, quack. So tell us a little bit about how you grew up. Like, what kind of diet did you guys have when you were a kid? And, how did it how did it get to where you needed to try a carnivore diet?
Well, growing up, both my parents worked. My dad was a truck driver. My mom did mainly clerical work. She worked as office help for a plumber, and they were really busy a lot of the time. My sister and I, we both did sports, so that was a more busyness added to the schedule. So there wasn't a bunch of home cooked foods, if you will. And when they were, it was more like macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes, garlic bread, and pastas and things like that. So it wasn't nowhere near as meat based as it should have been, in my opinion, looking back. But there was chicken and pork, and rarely was there beef because, when you're eating a standard American diet, meat is expensive. So when you're not fat adapted. So it was a lot of that sort of a thing, and fast food all the time, always on the go, fast food. Food was always a treat. Hey, you guys did great at the baseball game. Let's go get ice cream cones, right? Nutty bars, ho-hos, ding dongs, Twinkies,
Yeah.
cookies, you name it, 24/7 all the time. We would
Mm.
get Rice Krispies for breakfast because that's, healthier than I guess Lucky Charms, because you don't have all the sugar, but it turns the
Yeah.
sugar in your body, and you couldn't eat Rice Krispies without putting a 1-inch layer thick of sugar in it to begin
I'm
with.
just remembering that scooping with the
Yeah,
spoon, getting that
scraping the
layer of
bottom.
sugar off the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah, it's like, who wants to eat cardboard? Let's put sugar on it.
Mhm.
So that was essentially my childhood. Luckily I was blessed with a high metabolism,
Mhm.
so I didn't really get overweight or obese. I didn't really start packing on the pounds until after I was 18, and I stopped doing martial arts and baseball, things like that, and doing the exercise. And that's kind of, my son was born when I was 21, and that's basically all she wrote after that. So I packed on the pounds when my wife was packing on the pounds, and it was just kind of downhill from there. But so yeah, it was very bad diet, high metabolism, and I think that even though I wasn't getting obese or fat when I was younger, and I have a theory about this.
Mhm.
Let's say, for instance, somebody eats like I did and I'm not getting fat. I'm starting to develop issues like these autoimmune problems, right? My body manifests these issues and problems in another way, where it seems like sometimes people that do gain weight, they may have some autoimmune conditions and other diseases, but it seems like the fat helps to protect them. The storage of those toxins helps to protect them somewhat. And they don't seem to have quite as many of these autoimmune conditions as skinnier people with a more of a higher metabolism. So that's kind of my theory behind that. But
Interesting.
yeah, and then eventually fatness took me over.
So you did ultimately become overweight,
Yeah. Yep.
from your
Yeah. I
bad
didn't want to be left
bad
out of
diet.
the club.
Yeah, no, I mean, no. FOMO, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, well, we know that, inside of our, cells, as our, insulin, high levels of insulin are telling our body to store fat, inside those fat cells are all kinds of hormones and everything that you've ever eaten in your life.
Right.
And then when you start to release that, you get things like, rashes, oxalate dumping, and stuff like that, because that stuff is stored up inside your cells. And so
Hmm.
I did end up with um, oxalate dumping. Did you have anything like that with yourself? Any kind of rashes or reactions to your um, when you changed your diet?
I did. And initially, I didn't know anything about that. I hadn't studied enough. I just knew, hey, Dr. Barry, this cool Southern guy, eat beef, butter, bacon, eggs. I'm all in, right?
Yes.
It's going to cure
Yep.
cure all my ills. And had
Mhm.
no idea what oxalate dumping was. And it started to
Yep.
happen. And it did have me a little bit worried because it started about the size of a baseball, right at my lower back. And it was
Mhm.
a really red and intense rash. It itched, and then it worked its way up my back. And when it got to the scapula, it split, and then it went up and over my shoulders, and then
Oh.
combined again,
Oh
and
my
went
god.
down towards my waistline like it did in the back. And this happened over like 4 months. So I'm
Oh,
always like
no.
continually having these like red itchy spots on me. And after I didn't really get it diagnosed, that it was oxalate dumping or anything like that, just by reading Sally Norton's book and
Mm,
other anecdotal evidence from other people, I assume that
right.
that's what it was.
Okay. What's Sally Norton's book called?
Toxic
Mm,
superfoods.
okay. Toxins. I'll
Yep,
make
it's
sure I put a
essentially
link to that.
it's like the Bible on oxalates.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, that is I did have, and I continue to experience some kind of oxalate dumping type of, symptoms,
Hmm.
where I will have these little rashes, I'll have itchy spots and things like that on my body. And one thing that's really great about there's so many people out here talking about this now that, anything that you're curious about, somebody's out here talking about it.
Yes.
So if you're experiencing something like that, how can you reduce your oxalate dumping rash? If you want to try to reduce the impact of that, you can increase your oxalate a little bit, but ultimately we want to get off of those high oxalate um, vegetables, right?
For
So,
sure.
I mean, how much spinach did we eat, right? It's like so much spinach and kale and all of those, the leafy greens, because those are actually, according to you know, to our food pyramid, those are the
Hmm.
actual best for you to eat
Right.
is the spinach, right? So we shoved spinach, you know, we put it in shakes. We made ourselves eat. I like spinach. It's okay from a taste perspective, but it's
Hmm.
really high in oxalates. So
Yep.
it's not
Yeah.
not
And when I was eating vegan for 2 years, literally, I mean, you can't get enough to eat on a vegan diet, in my opinion.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
would make at least two of these green smoothies a day. And I mean, you have to have like a trash bag full of spinach. It seemed seemingly to make one shake. So I was eating like massive loads of spinach over
Yeah,
2 years, thinking, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm getting
right.
so many nutrients. Look at me. Little did I
Mhm.
know I was causing harm to myself.
Exactly. The funny thing was I was at dinner yesterday with, some family members that were in town, and they were asking me about eating vegetables, and they said, "Well," I said, "I don't eat any vegetables at all. I eat only meat." And they were like, "Well, how do you get your nutrition? Do you supplement?" And I'm like, "No. Meat has all the nutrition that I need."
Right?
So, it's just a fallacy that we need to have these vegetables for nutritional purposes.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
yeah, it's really, really kinda sad. It's
Yeah, the
really
next conversation that I have with somebody like that, I think what I want to do is ask them, like, well, specifically, what nutrition am I missing out on, and see if they can actually even answer that question.
right. Yeah, these folks were vegans for years and ended up having to add back meat, but I think they've added back a very small amount of meat because of adrenal. My husband's aunt had adrenal failure.
Oh no.
So, so they had to add back meat, because, they had been vegans for years. I mean, years and years and years. So now they
Um,
do eat a little bit of meat, but it's just a little bit, and I'm certain that it's not enough.
wow.
So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
hopefully they'll listen to Carnivorous Grandma here soon.
I hope so. I hope that would be amazing. I would love to, share the good word with them and let them know that you can get all your proper nutrition. And I didn't want to be, we're at dinner at Olive Garden. I'm like, I don't want to be, some kind of way about it.
Yeah, party
But
pooper.
yeah, I don't want to be a party pooper. Exactly. Okay, Rick is saying that my vegan friends insist I need fiber to have a healthy digestive system. This is a fallacy. This is just not factually true that we do not
Yep.
need fiber in a human diet. What's your take on that, Adam?
I agree 100%. My digestive system is flawless, and I have not had a scrap of fiber in over 14 months.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. I kind
Now
of
I
want to
will
take a
say,
little bit of a step back.
what's it?
I want to hear more about your career.
Mhm.
So you
Okay.
said that you are a photographer
Mhm.
by trade, right? How did you get into that? I know that you said that you were active in sports as a kid, but how did you get into sports photography?
Sure. So, this is kind of cliche, as with all photographers. You go to any photographer's website, Joe Blow photography. I've always liked taking pictures ever since I was a little kid, right? So
Yeah.
that was me too. But I
Mhm.
didn't really get serious in it until I was gifted a DSLR by my former employer, which was
Wow.
also a friend of mine. He owns a tool repair business and he's fairly well off. So he actually gave me a Nikon D200, I think it was, and a lens. And I'm like, this thing is the coolest thing since sliced bread. So my son played sports at the time, and I decided I'm going to go out and give it a try. And I absolutely fell in love with capturing the action and the intensity and the emotion. And essentially, I self taught myself how to do all of that.
Wow.
And yeah, so after doing, some gigs around the neighborhood and things like that, I contacted our local newspaper to essentially be a freelancer for them, and they accepted. And it was off to the races from there. So I got my first pictures published in the newspaper. And I was super excited and giddy about that. And then I got the front page of the paper. Then I got, the larger metropolitan area newspaper front page. And it just
Wow.
kept spiraling from there. And now I've had works published in National Geographic books,
Wow.
not just the magazine, but actual like hardback books. My photos
Amazing.
have been displayed on Fox News, CNN, Rolling Stone, Forbes, all the major news outlets I've had publications with. Sports Illustrated, I've been in Sports Illustrated, ESPN, the magazine, uh,
Wow.
all kinds of international publications. I couldn't even tell you the names, especially a lot of my hockey work. A lot of Russian publications over there, kids' books, recipe books, books on uh, mental health. Just there's a lot of different things that I've had published works in just because of the nature of being a photojournalist. So I've photographed presidents, I've photographed Super Bowl, I've photographed national championship for football, I've photographed NHL, NBA, MLS, NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, essentially any major sport. I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
And
been it's been a
how
fun
long have
thing.
you been doing it?
It took me about 6 years to kind of get into that level where I was photographing professional sports and taking on
Mhm.
contracts from NFL players and things like that. But it's been about 16 years or so.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you're like
Prior to that,
you're like a
I
famous,
controlled.
photojournalist. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
incredible.
a lot of people ask me, who my favorite sports team is and all this sort of
Mhm.
thing. I used to have sports teams, but because once you get into that field of work, you can't have a favorite. Now, mind you, there's a lot of people in journalism that are extremely, extremely biased in one direction. Everybody knows, um, but you're not supposed to be biased, right?
Right.
You literally just cover what you see in front of you, and you explain what's happening, and let it be that.
Yep.
So that's kind of the tack that I took, and that's why I was successful in that. I believe because it didn't matter to me who won. I wasn't there
Mhm.
as a photographer. I was there as a
Right.
photographer. So I would
Yep.
cover both teams and capture things that most people didn't. One thing, as an example, is this was a double truck spread in Sports Illustrated. Was Baker Mayfield, when he was playing for the Oklahoma Sooners, he came to Ohio Stadium and upset Ohio State in the shoe. And he did this crazy thing where he celebrated and ran around the stadium multiple times, grabbed the Oklahoma flag and ran out to the center of the field, started waving it around, and then planted it right in the middle of the blocko in the field. And I got this like really nice wide angle shot of that
Oh,
image. And
wow.
most of the coverage that was there was for Ohio State, and they're biased. They're covering. I'm just going to cover
Mhm.
Ohio State, so
Yep.
I was lucky enough to get that. But yeah, it's
That's
been an interesting
amazing.
ride so far.
Wow. That is amazing. I'm gonna have to look for you when I'm, like, looking through these so you're still working now, I mean, you haven't retired or anything yet.
No, I don't do as much of the photojournalism work. I will if they call me up and they have an assignment or something like that, or
Mhm.
if NFL player, MLB player, or anything like that calls up and they need me to do something. Our
Yeah.
company is the official partner photography company of the Columbus Clippers, which is an
Oh,
MILB team,
okay.
which is basically the farm team for Cleveland Indians. Um,
Okay.
so or Guardians now. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
I
we
forgot they
can't say
changed it.
Indian. Apologize for
Yes.
that, but
Okay.
so yeah. But mainly I'm working with youth sports leagues, high school sports leagues, dance schools, cheer
Mhm.
academies, gymnastics schools, things like that.
Nice.
And it's a lot of fun.
That sounds like fun. So B-Dog has a question for you. Who is your favorite person to work with in F1? I'm a big fan.
Well, back in the day, it was Schumacher. So I don't really have a favorite of anybody. I'm a favorite. I'm sort of a fan of everybody, unless they're a jerk. But
Okay.
yeah, I love exceptionalism, especially,
Mhm.
in photography and covering people that are doing exceptional things. That doesn't mean that I don't love the layperson or the normal man and woman as well, because that's who I try to feature on my YouTube channel.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so yeah, I'm essentially a favorite of everybody.
Nice. Thank you for that response. So, Oaktown Girl, hey, Oaktown Girl. Football team announcers used to never say we when talking about the team they were contracted with. There was a journalistic integrity. That's how old I am that I remember that. Yeah, there used to be back in the day. I
Yeah,
don't
that's true.
know.
Yeah, they
But yeah.
don't do that so much anymore, unfortunately. So there's
Yeah.
definitely a bias out there.
Wow. We do have another question in the chat. I'm gonna pop it up.
Sure.
So, Charlie wants to know, do you eat carnivore with family? If not, how do you manage to eat carnivore amid non-carnivores?
Well, that's a good question. So my wife is not carnivore. I wish she was. She's eating a little bit more meat than maybe she was before. She still has, I don't know what the reservations are, probably because, her husband, she wants to be the one to make the decision. And we'll just leave it at that, right? So, but my boys, whenever they're around, they'll eat 100% carnivore, but they're grown and gone. They're
Okay.
20, 25, 26, and they're doing their own thing. So, but they have started to turn up the heat in terms of eating more carnivore. And as far as eating with non-carnivores, it is a little, I guess, strange for them, not for me,
Okay.
because I know I'm eating this way for my health. And it
Mhm.
doesn't really matter to me what somebody else is doing. Do I wish that they would eat differently, or at
Yes.
least open their eyes to something different that might be able to boost their health? And whether it be physical or mental health, yeah, for sure. But um, yeah, it doesn't. There's no issues in terms of temptations or anything like that anymore. Especially if you've gone off the rails and experienced, inflammation from just eating bread or a piece of
Mm.
pizza or something like that. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just I need to steer clear of it, at least for right now. Maybe my body will heal enough in the future that I can have a piece of pizza and it's not going to
Right.
affect me as much as it does now. But yeah.
Yeah. So do you ever find yourself I'm getting to the point where I'm getting really frustrated, like, "What's wrong with you people? Why
Right.
don't you guys get the memo?" So, do you ever feel any kind of way about, everybody not changing their diets?
Yeah. And it's more so with people that are like really close to me. Like
Mhm.
my mother-in-law, she has Raynaud's, she has
Yeah.
scleroderma. And
Mhm.
those are pretty serious autoimmune conditions, right? So especially scleroderma, where your body essentially is making scar tissue of connective tissue, and
Mm.
it almost hardens it. So, the lady that I just interviewed on my channel,
Mhm.
Rebecca, she had that, and they told her that she wouldn't live past 30 years old because of this condition that she had. And she literally reversed all of that by eating lamb for a year. nothing but lamb. And, you
Amazing.
share those stories with them and things like that. And just seemingly, at least right now, has zero effect. Like there's
Yep.
no interest in fixing that problem or whatever. It is frustrating.
It's very frustrating because you're like, for me, I know that I'm interviewing a lot of people and everybody's talking about the amazing results they're having curing bipolar, curing MS, curing, plantar fasciitis. I mean, who would have thought that that could be done? Curing all these diseases that we thought were incurable, type 2 diabetes and all of those. And I'm
Mhm.
looking at people like, what is wrong with y'all?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Get the
Oh, I just
memo.
want to
Come
say
on.
hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, so I'm glad I'm not the only one because today I felt very frustrated about it. Like I just want to see people healing themselves, and the thing is that they can, right? And it's such an easy thing to do. Not I won't say it's easy, so simple thing to do, though
Right.
probably not easy all the time
Mhm.
for us to do it. So, but yeah, I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only person out here who
Nope,
like, "You
you are
guys,
not
come
alone.
on, get the memo."
That's
So,
something that I think that I'm trying to try to teach myself to not really worry about that as much, just try to stay in my lane, do my thing, inspire as many people as I can by sharing these stories and helping people one-on-one when I can, and getting
yeah,
involved with the documentary as a
mhm,
much, larger effort, whether it be national or even global potentially. So I just try to
yes.
focus my energies elsewhere and not let it bother me as much.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I need to do is I really need to just, worry about myself.
Right? Yep,
Worry
yep.
about myself.
That's right.
So, since you mentioned the documentary, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that? How'd you meet Carrie, and how did you get, to become part of this amazing effort that's going on with the documentary?
Sure, absolutely. So the documentary is called Healing Humanity: The Power of a Proper Human Diet. And that name was formulated in sort of a partnership with Dr. Berry. We asked his permission to use proper human diet. I mean, that's a standard English term, so we really didn't have to, but we know he's such an important role in this carnivore space that we wanted to really get permission from him before we did anything like that. So, Healing Humanity: The Power of a Proper Human Diet. That's the documentary, and I got involved with it. It wasn't called that initially. Carrie and Emma on a video essentially said, there should be a documentary that follows people around for a year that
Mhm.
just, shows everybody the power of what this diet can do. And it just rang true with me, like, absolutely. I didn't know of anything out there. Since then, I
Mhm.
found out there's a couple that
There's a
are
couple.
somewhat close, but not really. But I thought, you know what, this needs to be a reality. And I have a background in media and
Mm.
lighting and composition and owning a business, managing people, things like that. So I know that there's a lot that I could offer in that effort if you decided to do that. So I just sent a random email to him. And at that time, I didn't have a YouTube channel. It was just, I was consuming carnivore content as well, seen his 30-day video, watched a couple of his videos. He, announced that with Emma, and I sent him an email. He had 75,000 subscribers at the time. And I thought, there's no possible way this dude is going to read this email.
Right.
Like, he must get like dozens and dozens of emails. Like, he probably is not going to, even if he does get it, he's not going to have time to respond.
Mhm.
And he literally responded within, I'd say, 4 or 5 hours, which was amazing to
Wow.
me. But essentially, my message to him was, hey, I believe in this. If this is something that you want to do, I believe that I have a lot of things that I can offer to help out. I love to volunteer. I'll sweep the floors if I have to. And, because I know the value of a good employee as well as the value of a good manager. So I'll fit
Yes.
in any role. It doesn't matter to me. I don't need recognition or anything like that. I just want to see this project move forward. So he responded and said, "Yeah, sure. let's do it. Let's go forward. And it's just kind of morphed and evolved from there.
I'm super proud of the work that you're doing, Adam. You know, I've been watching, of course. Of course, I'm a little tiny part of that team, and I'm so excited and thankful to be
Yes.
able to do whatever I can to get this word out here because I think it's going to change millions and millions of lives. And you know, just seeing how it's changing and morphing as we're going along, you know, all the different, you know, things like with the cancer piece that became such a huge portion of the documentary. And Bill, he's amazing.
For
So,
sure.
you know, it's just really, really awesome. And I can't appreciate you enough for the effort that you're putting in. You're making this stuff look so good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Robin. And we definitely feel blessed to have you on the team and fulfilling, you know, the role with helping with the candidates and things like that, and spreading the message and getting the word out there. So also, I wanted to make note too that right now it seems heavy on the males in the documentary in terms of what people know, but the participant level that we have so far is overwhelmingly female at this point, and it's almost to the point where it's like it's going to be like 90% female and 10% male. Now, you know, if
Wow.
that's the case, if those are the best stories, that's what we're putting in there. You know, we're not going to
Mhm.
search out people just to put them in there, even if they're
Right.
not a good example. So, yeah, we've got some really good ones coming up that we're getting ready to film, potentially down in southeastern United States. So, man, it's starting to get exciting. And then we're moving on to Hack Your Health conference in the end of May, and we're going to
Yes.
film, I think, at least 10 individuals there. Dr. Baker, Dr. Chafee, Dr.
Oh my
Kiltz,
gosh. It's gonna be
and Bella
crazy.
is 4 of the 10 that we're going to film down there. So,
Nice, nice,
yeah.
nice. That's gonna be so awesome. I really wanted to get to Hack Your Health this year, but I'm going to Florida in June. So it's like,
Oh, wow.
I can't make it to Hack Your Health this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
so I'm excited to see what's going on down there. I know you guys will be giving us some footage and stuff from the Hack Your Health, and so I'm excited about that. It's gonna be really, really good. So, yeah, the documentary is absolutely amazing, and certainly if you, are interested in supporting the documentary, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. There's a website, which is Healing Humanity: The Power of a Proper Human Diet. I think it's Humanity
Right?
Healing Human if you search that, you'll find the website.
Yep.
There's also a GoFundMe, you know, all of, Carrie's super chats and all of his membership dollars go toward the documentary and filming the documentary. He doesn't take any of that money for himself. So, you know, this is a really, really good cause and very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So the website is healinghumanity.movie, in case people don't know. You can sign up for the newsletter there. We have a petition to try to get 1 million signatures to make metabolic therapy a standard option for cancer
Mhm.
patients. So you can sign up for that as well, and that would be greatly appreciated. And then, like Robin said, all the GoFundMe's that come in, the super chats on Carrie's channel, the merchandise purchases, the salt shakers, the t-shirts, super chats, and all that goes towards, and memberships on his channel, that all goes towards the documentary. Now, I will say this as well. We are going to start a membership website, and it may or may not be branded Healing Humanity. We're thinking about other names and more of a broad approach. So maybe convert some of our YouTube channel members into that group, but it's going to have a full social network. It's going to
Nice.
have a full-fledged app that's nothing like some of the other groups that's out there. It's going to be a lot more user-friendly and intuitive. We're going to have courses. We're going to have Q&As. We're going to have experts come in, and it's just going to be a little bit different of a vibe. It's going to be more inspirational, more motivational, more educational, and probably less on the coaching aspect of it. It's just kind of a safe place for all of us to come together and not be on Facebook or these other platforms. And
Yeah.
the primary goal of that is going to be to help, not only help fund the documentary, but also compensate our volunteers financially for the documentary. So it'll be a separate effort from the documentary, but we're going to try to, because these people are putting in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, and they're not getting compensated for any of this. Their time is being taken away from their families. So we do want to try to relieve some of that tension potentially that's on their families, and compensate them for their time, because they are valuable. So
Yeah.
we want to do that, potentially raise enough money that Carrie and I can do this full time and completely
Amazing.
stop our efforts that we're doing in our other business. And then overhead or overflow with that will all go directly towards the documentary. So it is sort of a separate effort in that regard, but it's also to continue to fund the documentary until we get, major donors or anything like that. We're just going to continue to keep it crowdfunded, and we're not beholden to any organization or company or ideology. It's all you. So
Awesome. Adam, it's been an hour. Oh my
oh
God.
wow,
I
nice.
can't believe it. So there's a couple more questions. Do you have a few more minutes?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So let me just get these questions up here, because make sure that people get their questions answered. So Charlie wants to know, have you run across any carnivores who have never heard of Dr. Berry?
That's a good question. No, I haven't. That's usually the first word that comes out of their mouth.
Me either. Even if they say like they were, the first person they found was like, a lot of people say Dante Ferrigno was the
Right.
first person they found, or they heard it on Joe Rogan. A lot of people say that. And then a number of people say that Dr. Chafee was the first person they found, but everybody eventually finds Dr. Berry.
Right. Yeah.
So Dr. Berry is like the person for me. I watched him, and he went from keto to carnivore, and I was like amazed that you could actually eat only meat and live.
Right. And this is an MD talking about this, which seems taboo.
Exactly. Okay. So Susan saying, I met a carnivore in the line at a local shop yesterday. She watches Dr. Siwes and Dr. Berry. I told her she needs to join Dr. Berry's private group so she can come to our meetups.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Nice.
yeah, I'm part of Dr. Berry's private group, his Mighty Network. Yep.
I am as well.
Yep. Okay, so there's a question for you. Can we watch your filming at HYH? Are you guys going to be sharing any of the filming that's going down there at Hack Your Health?
Well, most of the filming is going to be done on private property on an Airbnb, large Airbnb. And all the doctors and everything will be invited out there for that. So it's a little bit more of an intimate experience and a little bit more cinematic, if you will. So nobody can come over for that because there's a person limit on this property. So we can't have over, I think, 16 people or something like that. So that's a no-go. But at Hack Your Health itself, Robin has graciously offered us one of the side meeting rooms.
Nice.
For potentially some purposes that we would use for the documentary, and then also a separate podcasting space that has like a couch and then a couple banners and things like that. So potentially we might do some stuff in that area, but to be honest with you, we have so much filming to do and get scheduled in. And the property that we're filming at is 45 minutes from the convention center. So there's a little bit of, just logistics with that.
You guys need a project manager.
For sure.
That would be me.
Right. Exactly.
I won't be there this time. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we definitely, Emily Harvo, she's kind of filling in the project management role with that. So we're definitely blessed and thankful for her helping in that regard, because it is a lot. And especially working with these doctors, it can be somewhat frustrating because they have like a sliver of time that you actually have access to them to communicate and get these things planned. So.
All right. Well, Adam, let me share your channel.
Awesome.
And I mean, everybody should have already seen it, but we'll go ahead and bring it up real quick. So let me just share here. All right. So tell us a little bit about your channel.
Carnivore Today. So when is a good time to do carnivore? Today. So
Right.
that's sort of the premise behind the website. And it was also kind of a play on like USA Today. Initial plans were to have daily content coming out, but as I got into it, not being a content creator, I thought, well, this is next to impossible,
Right.
especially to have high quality content, because I like to have as high quality as I can. I know there's content out there that's way better than mine, but I am trying to slowly progress over time. But
Yeah, you're doing really your videos are amazing, Adam.
well, thank you, I appreciate that. And so yeah, I'm going to try to get more into maybe a little bit less of the podcast interviews, even
Mhm.
though I enjoyed those really well. But like with
Yes.
yours, I interviewed you 3 months ago,
Yep.
and it took me 2 months to get the thing edited, get it
Right.
out. So,
Yes.
yeah, I did too much of that, so I'm gonna try to shift gears a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Really, really awesome stuff. So do you feel like you have pigeonholed yourself by having your channel called Carnivore something?
I do, and that could be good and bad. So, my main focus is Carnivore Today, but do I wish that I kind of went a little bit more of a broad approach? Yeah, yes, and no. There's people out there that still just need carnivore content and carnivore content only. So if I can, keep that pared down for people and curate that content as much as possible, there's still value in it. But in terms of things blowing up and stuff like that, I know that it's probably not a reality. So, but as long as I'm serving people that need the information, that's not a bother to me at all.
Yeah. Same here. I've had that question posed to me a couple of times, like, don't you think you maybe should take the carnivore out of your title? And I'm like, no, that's actually what I'm here to do.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Like
Yep.
almost all of my video titles, I'll have the word carnivore in it because that's a highly searched for term on YouTube. So people are specifically looking for, carnivore diet. Potentially the videos that I took the time to put together will come up and help them.
Yep. I agree. For the time being, I have no desire to change. This is what I want to talk about. This is a message that needs to get out to the world. Like we're not even scratching the surface yet, right? We're maybe just like getting ready to scratch the surface of what needs to be done with a carnivore diet, ketovore, whatever they want people want to do is regarding a proper human diet, but to get people off processed foods, seed oils, and high oxalate vegetables, starchy vegetables, all of that stuff. We're a million miles away from where we need to ultimately get. So it's
Absolutely. Yeah. I
changing.
hope, I hope I get to the point where my channel is irrelevant and
Yeah,
people don't even need it. So
yeah,
that's
I
my
agree.
end goal, shutting the channel down and doing something else.
Yes, 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 ultimately.
Yep.
So, Sandra is saying that she subbed to Adam's channel and also a happy member of Adam's channel. So if you
Awesome.
guys have not already, please go check out Adam's channel. It's absolutely amazing the work that he's doing over there. And his cinematography is top notch because he's a famous videographer, you guys. So
Yeah.
yeah, go
I had to
subscribe.
learn videography pretty quick. And really it's just a matter of, it's sort of a different mode or tool from a camera.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of times the camera is also a video camera now. So
Hmm.
it's not really that unfamiliar to me. So
Right.
really it's just a matter of learning the settings of video and
Yeah.
storage of video and how it needs to be prepared for the editor. So it really wasn't that big of a leap.
Well, one thing that you did is you helped me with my lighting. When you and Carrie did that master class a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, you guys did a master class, it was absolutely
Right.
incredible. Helped me with my little aesthetic that I have going on here
But you
and with
look
the light.
beautiful. So
Oh, thank you. So Sandra says that it's not, no, it's not streaming on Adam's channel today, and that's okay. So you guys can go check his channel out. You can put it in your community tab though if you want to, Adam. When
Sure.
we
Yep.
get done here,
Yep.
the video will post up, and you can put it in your community channel.
Absolutely.
Adam, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming and being a guest on my show. And I'm loving, all of the work that you and Carrie and the whole team are doing with the documentary. And I just appreciate you. So if you had one thing that you could say to everybody, what would it be?
Just do it.
Yeah.
Start today. I mean, there's no other two ways about it. So whether you're a Band-Aid ripper or you have to kind of dip your toe in the water, get started. No one else is going to transform your health other than you. No one's going to change your health other than you. Prayer obviously definitely helps in your faith, but
Yes.
these doctors they're not concerned typically with getting you off your medications, healing you from the inside. So the responsibility lies on you. So you need to just get started today. Even if you just cut out one meal in a month, that's one meal in the month that you're eating that's better than it was the month before. So just get
Right.
started.
Thank you, Adam. All right, you guys, that is a wrap. We're going to wrap it up here. I am putting my email address down at the bottom. So if you are interested in being interviewed or coming on to Carnivorous Grandma Speaks, you can email me at robin.heron@hotmail.com. And I would love to have you on, would love to come in here and talk to you about your story and find out who you are and how the carnivore diet or the ketovore diet or the keto diet is working for you. This is going to change. It's a game changer, and it's going to change your life. So we are so thankful, and we're going to let you go, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye for now. I'm going to email you right now.